For the war, before the diss tracks, before the coasts were divided, there was a friendship. In 1993, Tupac was on top of the world. The notorious B.I.G. was a hungry kid from Brooklyn with a demo tape and a dream. They met at a party, and Pac was immediately impressed by Biggie's raw talent. He saw a kindred spirit. Pac took Biggie under his wing. He invited him to his home, let him crash on his couch when he was in California, and gave him his first taste of the high life. He taught Biggie how to navigate the music industry, how to manage his money, and how to treat his fans. For a time, they were like brothers. The peak of their friendship came during a 1993 concert. In the middle of his own set, Tupac brought a nervous Biggie on stage and let him freestyle for the massive crowd. It was a huge endorsement. Tupac was officially passing the torch, telling the world that Biggie was the next king. They were two of the most talented artists of their generation, united by a love for hip-hop. It seemed like nothing could break them apart. But a storm was coming. The breaking point was November 30th, 1994. Tupac was in New York for his ongoing court case when he was lured to Quad Studios for what he believed was a simple recording session. But what awaited him in that lobby was the ambush that would change everything. After being shot 5 times, Pac dragged himself upstairs. He saw Biggie and Puffy, and in his paranoid, bleeding state, their shock looked like guilt. He believed they had to have known about the setup. That was the moment the friendship shattered. Trust was replaced by a deep, burning paranoia. The final nail in the coffin came while Pac was in prison. Biggie released the song, "Who Shot Ya?" Biggie and his camp swore the song was recorded months before the ambush and wasn't about Pac. But the timing was impossibly cruel. To Tupac, locked in a cell and recovering from his wounds, it was the ultimate act of disrespect. He saw it as Biggie dancing on his grave. The Brotherhood was officially dead. In its place was a desire for revenge that would be funded and amplified by his new label, Death Row Records. When Tupac was bailed out of prison by Suge Knight in 1995, he had one thing on his mind: vengeance. He immediately went into the studio, a soldier ready for war. He first took subliminal shots at Biggie on his massive album, All Eyes on Me. But he wanted to make it clear. He wanted a war. In the summer of 1996, he dropped Hit 'Em Up. It wasn't a diss track. It was a declaration of total war. It is still considered the most vicious and disrespectful diss track of all time. He made shocking and deeply personal accusations against Biggie, his wife Faith Evans, and the entire Bad Boy crew. There was no coming back from this. The line had been crossed forever. Biggie never responded with a direct diss track. He took subliminal shots on tracks like Long Kiss Goodnight, but he seemed to understand that this was more than just music now. It was dangerous. In the end, there were no winners. The rivalry, which started with a broken friendship, spiraled out of control, and both Tupac and Biggie would lose their lives within 6 months of each other. They were two of the greatest to ever touch a microphone, and their story remains hip-hop's most profound tragedy. A cautionary tale of how a brotherhood, once broken, can set the whole world on fire. Who do you think was more to blame for the beef?
Hey yo, check it out, B. So back in 1995, Tupac and Biggie had beef, and it all started the night Tupac was asked to do a collaboration with Jimmy Henchman's artist Little Sean for $7,000, man. Word on the street was Tupac was being very disrespectful to Jimmy Henchman and his family. So Jimmy wanted to teach Pac a lesson and have him beat up. But once he got to Quad City Studios, he was ambushed and robbed for his jury, and he got shot 5 times, man. And when the elevator door opened back up, he seen Puff Daddy and Biggie Smalls just standing there looking crazy, not really trying to help him or anything. So this whole thing was just supposed to be a beating, but it ended up being a botched robbery gone bad, man. Pac was so paranoid that the robbers were gonna come back and finish the job. He then checked himself out the hospital and appeared in court in a wheelchair and bandaged up the next day. And he was sentenced to 3 to 5 years in prison for abuse. While serving time in prison, he heard Biggie Smalls' song, Who Shot Ya, when he was on the yard. And that really pissed him off because Big nor Puff came to see him or put any money on his books or tried to look out for him. You know what I mean? So after almost a year in prison, Suge Knight came and bailed him out for $1 million, signing him to death row. His first album was All Eyes on Me, which had California Love, Gangster Party, I Ain't Mad at Ya. That was all the songs, dope songs that was on All Eyes on Me. But the song that surprised everyone is when he dropped the single Hit 'Em Up, dissing Biggie, saying that his wife Faith, you know what I mean? When Biggie heard this, he was furious. So he started making subliminal songs like What's Beef, Ain't Nobody Till Somebody Kills You. You know, if you listen to Life After Death, he had a lot of subliminal songs towards Pac. You know what I'm saying? But the beef went on the whole 1996. So on September 7th, 1996, Tupac attended a Mike Tyson fight in Las Vegas. And after the fight was over, he got into it with a gang member named Orlando Anderson in the lobby. This is where Pac and Suge stomped the shit out of Orlando, bro. After that beating, Pac and Suge were on their way to the club 617, and before they got there, a white Cadillac pulled up on them and started blasting on the Las Vegas Strip. He was then taken to the hospital and died 7 days later. 2 weeks later after that, his album Machiavelli came out, which was his last studio album while he was alive, man. Tupac and Biggie never got to reconcile their relationship before his death. And 6 months later, Biggie was gunned down in LA. These two were legends. Rest in peace to both of them. I wish this silly West Coast, East Coast beef never would have happened. But it all started with the Jimmy Henchman thing. You know what I mean? I heard that Andre Harrell, P. Diddy, and Jimmy Henchman was all in on it. But Biggie Smalls didn't know anything about it. He was just there recording that night. Biggie Smalls didn't know shit about this. And Biggie said claims to have written Who Shot Ya weeks before this has happened. I don't know how true that is, because why would you put a song out like that after Pac gets shot? Man, that's kind of diabolical, B. But rest in peace to both of these legends, man. It's a sad situation that we lost two of the greats within a year's time. Salute to both of them. Hey, make sure y'all stream Standing on Business. And It's My Turn on all platforms: Spotify, Tidal, YouTube Music, all the streaming sites, man. Give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. I'm out of here. One love. Peace.